We are back. Welcome to 2025. It is LAFC Plus. He
baby.
is Mario Rees. How are you, Mario?
Good to be back, Dave. 30th season of Major League Soccer. Can you believe that? I mean, there's been so many ups and downs with Major League Soccer, but right now at the moment, things are looking up for sure.
Right.
With this, the unique deal with Apple TV was huge. We have one of the greatest players of all times, Messi, as the face of the league. We got LAFC doing their thing each and every year, and it's going to be another big year for LAFC. Can't wait. Let's get this thing going, and LAFC Plus is back. Let's go, Davey.
30th season of MLS, as Mario said. I am Dave Denholm. This is LAFC Plus. This is our second season, episode 43. Actually,
yes,
so we did 42 big ones last season, all the way up until doing a little post playoffs recap, if you will, when the schedule was released for the season. And now the schedule is finally here as MLS begins in earnest this weekend. All 30 teams, we'll get to that in a moment as well, are going to be represented on the schedule each week, but this weekend to open things up. Big season upcoming for LAFC, of course. Season 8, Mario, I can't believe that, really. I mean, it's just ridiculous. LAFC is in the third grade. They're 8 years old. Holy cow. They're, that's how I look at it now.
I was like, where are you going with that, Davey? I get it now. I get it.
Thankfully, they're way above third grade level, no doubt about it. But 8 years old, LAFC's eighth season, I should say. They've been around as a club a little longer than that, of course. And I'm super pumped for it, Mario, no doubt about it. Every season coming in, we know we're going to be a threat to win trophies, to play for championships. Right. And that's not going to change this season. Doesn't look like it anyway. I'm ready for it, no doubt about that.
And one thing, Dave, that you don't know, though, you never know what's going to happen in MLS because it's so unpredictable. Even when you're a dominant team with arguably the best player in the world, like Inter Miami last season, look what happened to them, breaking records, team records, club records, individual records, but they get bounced out in the first round of the playoffs. So it's just unpredictable, and that's what makes it wild. That's why we love it. It's just
absolutely
can't wait.
If you're new to LAFC Plus, welcome. That's awesome that you're joining us. Of course, you can catch the show on YouTube. If you're watching there, you can leave comments there if you want. Anywhere you get your podcast, if you want to do an audio style, whatever, that's cool as well. As it stands right now, it looks like we're going to be kind of a change of plans a bit, Mario. We're releasing these on Thursdays. We're doing this show.
Thursdays, yes.
Used to be kind of a Monday thing. Now we're going to be kind of really kind of previewing, looking ahead more to what's coming up, really. Not just that's the plus here. That's another thing you got to learn if you're new to the show. We don't just talk LAFC. Of course, we are part of the radio broadcast.
In the chat. Yeah, throw up pluses in the chat, please.
So we're going to focus on LAFC, no doubt. We're part of the radio team, and that's just the way it's going to be. We're going to focus on LAFC and the rest of MLS. And that's part
and we're going to shoot
here.
For 7 p.m. on Thursdays. 7 p.m., that's where we're going to shoot for. So be expecting it on Thursdays. We'll get your preview for the upcoming matches over the weekend for LAFC and the rest of the league.
Yeah, and for all you Plus people out there, that's 7 p.m. Pacific. Just in case you're like a Charlotte FC fan, though I don't know why you would be. But if you are, you can join us at 10 p.m. on Thursdays, of course, for the Eastern time zone. And I'm kidding there about Charlotte. No hate to Charlotte. They, whatever. Just first,
and if you're new,
that came to my mind.
If you're new to LAFC Plus, just to introduce Dave and I, we represent the LAFC radio broadcast team. Dave is the voice of LAFC. His calls, his amazing calls of the classic Vela goals, the Bawanga, the Gareth Bale goals. That's Dave Denholm. He's the voice of LAFC. I'm Mario Ruiz. I produce, I do some hosting, I do some reporting for LAFC, and I am the host of LAFC Plus with Dave Denholm. So make sure you catch us right here and on our platforms too, our social platforms. At I am Mario Ruiz. That's at I am Mario Ruiz on TikTok and X and IG. And Dave, what's your social so that everybody can get at you?
On X, I'm at Talk Soccer. And then on Instagram, at Dave_Denholm, just spelled like my name. So that's where we're living there. Mm-hmm. We also have a lot of fun on the show. It's not all super hardcore breaking down stuff. We're not the X's and O's kind of breaking down things. I opened up a box of Topps soccer, just like a blaster earlier. Got the Kip Keller auto. There we go. Kip Keller.
Okay.
like, nice solid player, nothing crazy. If you're a kid fan out there, we can discuss a price at some. No, yeah, whatever. But I just really, it's funny. I open up cards, and then my wife's like, "Don't you get into like, the selling part of the hobby at all?" Basically, like I just kind of hoard them essentially. Like, oh, don't worry, lovely wife. I'll sell some, then I can use that money to buy more. Don't ever get around to the selling of cards. Like I just
we'll get all our money back. We'll actually buy a house after we sell all of our cards. Don't even worry about it.
Never works out that way. Yeah, never works out that way. So yeah, good times there. But that was the only autograph I got. Actually, it was in a blaster box, which if people are collectors, they know that's not exactly like, it wasn't like a hobby box or anything crazy. I've been fortunate. I got a Stipe Buick. Remember the 1 of 1 I got? That was from a
Stipe. Yeah, 1 of 1.
A 1 of 1. From a
That's
blaster,
awesome.
Like unbelievable. Anyway, we digress. It is a big season upcoming. It already kicked off in earnest for LAFC, of course, just on this Tuesday this week. The underway tournament of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So, yeah, a lot of MLS teams involved. Certainly 10 teams in this CONCACAF Champions Cup. The big dangling carrot out there is the Club World Cup. Not this one coming up this summer, which is going to be amazing. But if you win this Champions Cup competition, you're going to the next one, right? You're part of the 4 teams. I mean, that is massive. And
massive.
People will learn that, I think, this summer, once this tournament actually gets going the way the format is. Mario. But that is a huge carrot. LAFC are in this tournament to win it. Got off to, let's be honest, we'll talk a little bit about this. It wasn't a great start in Colorado with single-digit temperatures and wind chills in the deep in the negatives. LAFC lose 2-1, but they did get that big goal late, Mario. The road goals matter, and that was a huge goal by Aaron Long, the captain.
It looked awful out there, Dave. The temperatures, the guys, their noses were just like red, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, you could just see how miserable they were. But when you're a team like Colorado who has such that home field advantage playing in those freezing conditions, you have to like your chances, right? And in a knockout game or a tournament or playoffs, when it's home and away, the opponent coming into Colorado is going to find it tough to just play their game on the pitch. And when it's frozen like that, you see the ball bumping up and down a little bit because there's ice on there. It's actually frozen. Sometimes the better team doesn't really, get to play their game. And that snow is just so tough. And, those conditions is tough to play in. And Colorado definitely takes advantage of that. But LAFC did get that one goal, that a one away goal. And now all they got to do is come home and just win. Just come home and just win. That's it. So that goal was massive for Aaron Long and the black and gold.
Yeah, weather, no doubt a factor. Defensive breakdowns there for LAFC. They got to clean up. You give away a penalty. You give away that bad foul at the top of the box that Georgi Mihailovic cashes in on. That's kind of really all Colorado had. Now, to their credit, we like to give people credit in this show. It's not always about just, the referee. No, that's not. LAFC did not deserve to win. Colorado took advantage of their opportunities to their credit. However, that's about all they got, realistically, in terms of dangerous chance. I know there was a nice double save from Hugo Lloris, and then Sergi had to save it off the line immediately. That was a great defensive effort by LAFC. But overall, I thought LAFC's defense actually was pretty solid. Again, the breakdowns early season, got to clean those up. And because Colorado will take advantage of that. Colorado's the team. Mario, they don't have like the one guy getting 20 goals, but I think they scored a boatload of goals last season as a team, just as a collective. It was like it's a team effort, and and those kind of teams can be dangerous at home. They were very good at home. They're not great on the road. And that's what has to happen on this coming Tuesday as we preview this home leg. Look, it's a home leg. Even down 2-1, LAFC should get there. But I want to caution some people. We felt this way, if you remember, in the final against León in this very tournament a couple years ago.
Yes.
Remember León in the opening leg in Mexico? We had the home leg coming, and in the opening leg in Mexico, LAFC were down 2-0. Looked back, got a goal on the final, seemingly the final touch of that match to quiet that crowd in León. I remember the celebration. He was going nuts. The bench went nuts. We only lost 2-1. Coming back home for the last Now I know it's a final spot, it's a young versus they're a better team than this particular Colorado Rapids team. No disrespect, but you can't just assume also go on the pitch at BMO in a few days and be like, oh, we're of course we're going to win now. We got the one goal. We're only down a goal. Like, it's no problem. Like, you got to go out and do it. This is a tough competition. There's a lot on the line, and these are all good teams. Like, you got to go out and take this game coming up on Tuesday.
And Dave,
because Colorado
you're talking about giving credit. We give credit to where credit is due. And of course, we're talking about Aaron Long, and Aaron Long got the goal, but he also had a solid night defensively. And he's been, the captain of the team, captain of that back line. And he did his thing in that game. And what a re-signing that was for LAFC. That was huge. That was massive. We talked about that on a few episodes before. But I also want to give credit to Chris Armas, Colorado's head coach, Chris Armas. He really knows how to get every little bit of game out of his players. Even when I talked to Steve Cherundolo about his former teammate, Chris Armas, he has the ultimate respect, and he sees the personality of Chris Armas in the way the Rapid play on the field. He sees that on the pitch. So Chris Armas has that team playing well. Like you said, they don't have really like a standout star player, but they get goals from any which way they can. And, when they have that home field advantage as well, that helps out. But yeah, they're going to have to step it up when they get on the road, especially at BMO Stadium on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, you're right about that. And Steve's right about that. Of course, he knows Chris Armas, U.S. men's national team player himself. Armas was like a leg breaker, not literally. That sounds worse than he was clean, but he was let's say he was a tough tackler. Let's just say that. Not that sounded, I made it sound worse than it was. He wasn't a dirty player by any means, but he'll come in and Armas was, he did not mess around, and that's the way his team plays. In a lot of ways, you're absolutely right. So it's going to be a tough test. Yes, of course, LAFC is the favorite. I think they'll advance. I don't see them having too much problem at home, but you got to go out and do it. And it's early. You're down 2-1, Mario. One little slip up early. All of a sudden, Colorado gets another goal. Then they're going to park that bus like Chris Armas knows how. That kind of, it could be a lot tougher than people think. Colorado deserved the win. LAFC, we'll get into it. Let's do it right now. In fact, we'll get right into it because it kind of corresponds with the 2025 MLS season preview for this LAFC club, kind of what happened in that game. But we do have a lot to talk about, of course, and we might as well jump in. You don't start a season preview, of course, for any club without the signings and departures. That is a huge part of any sport now, free agency, whatnot, made more so even in MLS and in soccer because you can go out and, purchase the contracts of players that you want to. You don't have to trade. You can go get somebody if you want to spend the money. And, of course, LAFC had some comings and goings like every team does, Mario. Let's break this down. First, let's say goodbye. We got to say goodbye to a few guys, right? Some legends.
That's always tough to do, Dave.
Absolutely. It is part of the sport, but, boy, it hurts. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, it hurts.
We would be remiss if we didn't start, of course, with Ilie Sanchez, one of the legends of the team. Great player, more importantly, great human being. Off to Austin. I don't really like that because that means we see him at least twice a year. That's not going to be fun.
That was a different type of hurt, Dave. When we found out that he was moving on to Austin, that just was like an emotional type of hurt. And I know a lot of fans, they felt the same way about Ilya. As much as we love Matty, and his goals and Lewis O'Brien as well, and Kai jumping out of the stadium. I just can't wait to see Ilya back at BMO Stadium again so we can all see him again when he returns with Austin FC, as you mentioned, on March 15th. That's going to be something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, it was a good news, bad news. I don't want to see him leave MLS because selfishly want to see him a few times a year again and get to catch up and just to, and also I love him in MLS. He's a great ambassador. He's a great guy, great human being. Great player. So selfishly didn't want him to leave Major League Soccer, but then also, oh boy, we got to play him, and that's not going to be easy. So also thanks so much to, just the work they did for us too, to be honest, on the radio side, a lot of interviews. Of course, Ilya was always more than gracious. Lewis O'Brien, Kai Kamara, great. Say goodbye to Omar Campos and Kike Oliveira. They get transferred out. And the big one in terms of, I guess, financially and also, having to kind of recover from losing his statistics on the pitch is Matty Bogusz, of course.
Yeah.
15 goals, Mario, just absolutely exploded as a player. So no shame in having to cash in, bottom line. I mean, he wanted to go. The team, you know, obviously don't want to lose a player like that, but when you purchase a player contract for a decent sum, but then you get, almost 10 times your money. I mean, it's part of the business. And, you know, it's another factor here, Mario, that I don't think people are paying enough attention to is Cruz Azul is going to be in that Club World Cup. That big tournament coming up this summer. Now, a lot of people don't even know this or don't care. That he will be in the shop window, as they say, right? He's going to be playing for Cruz Azul in that tournament. That is big.
And he's fitting in right away. He's fitting in. He's giving some good crosses. I mean, he's fitting in right away, which is great for Matty. I know he loves Mexico because I've seen him vacation in Mexico. So for him to make that switch over to Liga MX is a natural thing, and he's going to fit in wherever he goes. He's such a good player. So pumped to see what happens for him in Liga MX and Cruz Azul, and good luck to Matty and Omar Campos too, because Omar Campos joined him over there with Cruz Azul. So good luck to those former LAFC players right there.
And of course, saving the best for last. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. Eduardo Atuesta as well, one of the originals, if you will. You know, all the way back, not absolutely original, but going all the way back, it seemed, in deep in our history, if you can call it that, after, this is now our 8th season. But he is off now to Orlando, a big signing there, I think, for the Lions.
They're going to love him there. You know that.
No question about that. So we wish all these guys the best. I mean, we talk about it a lot, Mario. It's amazing. I've been around a lot of sports franchises in my day. You have as well. I've never seen a franchise that just, like, you're not looking at guys going, oh boy, he's tough to deal with, or oh man,
right.
like you put on a brave face to the public, or you do a sports talk show and you're like, oh yeah, he's a good player, but off the air you're like, oh, he's tough to deal with, or he's really not, no, it's tough to see these guys go, because frankly they all were easy for us to deal with too. I mean, that it is part of our job.
That's one thing that John Thornton and the front office, they look for. They look for the quality of the person, not only just the quality of the player, but the quality of the person. How is he? Family as well. LAFC is big on family. So when you bring in a player that just is a great as a person, it's hard to see them when they got to leave, because we get connected to these players. Fans get connected to these players. So it's definitely a tough thing. But this is professional sports, and we keep it professional as much as we can. But definitely when we see these guys again, it's always a hug and embrace for sure.
Now, make no mistake, sometimes it doesn't end well sporting-wise for a player.
Right.
There are issues that a lot of us, even we don't even know necessarily, and we're around the team a lot. So some of that gets wrapped in it, no question. We don't know a man's heart. We don't know his family's motivations. We don't always, so they don't always end great in terms of business-wise. That is part of the business, though, too. That's why you see a team put out a statement, even if it's a player, you're like, well, why are they leaving? Oh, this is terrible. Can't believe they forced this move or whatever. And the team still says, we wish him nothing but the best and all that. Yeah, of course, people will say, oh, that's just spin. No, that's not necessarily true. Like, there's a lot of factors that go on. And that has happened, that happens to every team. And, but it's happened a lot. I mean, to every club. And that's just part of it, too. So you do want to wish people well. You never know in this business, right? It's sports is the entertainment business. We always talk about it, even beyond sports. You don't end badly with people. You try not to if you can help it, no matter what, because you never know. It's a small world. You wish them the best, and see what happens. And again, that's just the way it goes, because you have a season to come prepare for now, and most importantly, Mario, we bring in new blood, right? New guys here.
Yes, that makes us feel a little bit better to get new faces and new personalities in, and get some new voices in. So new ideas.
And a new idea is to rebuild the midfield, because obviously we lost some midfielders. There's no doubt. A big chunk of our midfield minutes. Also want to say nothing but the best for Eric Dueñas over in Houston. Again, wish we didn't have to play him twice a year, but he gets an opportunity there. Great kid. Just a nice young man, bottom line. So we wish him the best too. And he was
Mhm.
original, like grown up in the club, amazingly. So that's another tough loss. But we bring in Odin Holm, Igor Jesus, which we've seen a few times now, whether it was the preseason or obviously in the game in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Mark Delgado, not exactly a stranger to anybody in MLS, that's for sure, to kind of
Mhm.
rebuild that midfield, reform it, if you will, with Timothy Tillman in there. Odin Holm, unfortunately, Mario, kind of suffering a knock, hasn't yet
Yeah.
really got going. We hope that will, hopefully heal as quickly as possible, get really going. But we've seen a lot from Delgado in his career, but also Jesus early now.
Mhm.
This is a rebuilt midfield, and that happens too at certain times. But I think
Mhm.
I think it's a good move. I really do. I think it's freshening up the position. MLS is ever evolving and changing. It's a tough league. You've got to be ready right through the middle of the park, Mario. We know that's crucial
Mhm.
in football, world football.
Mhm.
And I like these moves. I like these players too.
Yeah, Mark Delgado, I mean, he brings in that calmness and that confidence on the ball in the midfield. Very smart player. A guy who doesn't make very many mistakes back there, Dave. And I think that's what Steve Cherundolo was looking for. And oh yeah, I asked him about, those emotions whenever he does get to play against his former squad, of course, the Galaxy. Like you said, he comes from the Galaxy. And he said all the right things to me. He had all the right things to say, and he's a real pro. And when that whistle blows, he knows that he's gonna have to just give it his all and do whatever it takes for the black and gold. And I have that interview that we'll probably play, a couple episodes down the line as we get closer to that game. But yeah, we'll play that interview later. And Igor Jesus as well. Jesus is the real deal, Dave. He's going to be just a marquee player, I think, for LAFC. And, I just look forward to what he does. And, just he will definitely solidify that midfield to what we're looking for, especially what Steve Cherundolo is looking for. I like what I'm seeing so far. I can't wait to see Jesus just really get acclimated and get comfortable with the squad.
Man, he's a tough guy. You're not pushing him off the ball, man. He is built.
Yeah.
He is sturdy. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He can turn a pass. He can just really sharp player coming over from
Yeah.
the Portuguese top flight. And we all know Mark Delgado, consummate pro. Odin Holm was, he's from Celtic. Didn't get a lot of opportunity there as a young player. And boy, one of those guys that had a lot of buzz and a lot of, really high
Mm-hmm.
expectations. And that's very interesting to me. Like he's still very young, and
He is young.
that's
Yes.
all part of it. Like, can he continue that growth? Speaking of young, a new left back, Smolikov coming over from the top flight over in Ukraine, really highly thought of, a U21 player, like a youth national team player for Ukraine, is a very good footballing nation, always delivering a lot of great players. And then guys from MLS have been a big part of this. Not only Delgado, but Yaw Yaboa. We remember Yaw. We're gonna have some laughs with that, I'm
Eee.
sure, throughout the year. What he did to
Yeah.
us in the 2023 MLS Cup final on that left side, and then
Game winner. Yeah.
Kosi Tafari. And Kosi Tafari is a great, just a wonderful character. Like just a guy who just has fun playing. We all know this. FC Dallas career so far. He comes over
Mm-hmm.
from FC Dallas as a center back, and just a good player, Mario. You had a chance to talk to him. I'm very interested in hearing this interview, frankly. I have not heard this one yet. So we've got that for you here. This is Mario sitting down with new LAFC defender, Kosi Tafari.
Koy Tara here, the newest member of LAFC, the Black and Gold. What were your thoughts when you were approached about the possibility of moving to LAFC?
Yeah, it's a magnificent opportunity. I mean, more than what the location could mean, this is a incredible club that's trying to win things right now and is incredibly disappointed if they don't. And I feel as if I align with that very heavily. So for me, it's a match made in heaven.
Now, I see you got number 91. Can you explain any reason why you picked that number?
Yeah, so there's a few reasons. I'll just give you all of the reasons. I'm
There you go.
pretty good with a lot of signs and spirituality, so I kind of just go with the flow. So 17 had been taken. Shout out J-Bo. I love you for that one. And yeah, I mean, a good amount of time of my life, at least the last 6 years or so, people have been kind of throwing the Rodman narrative around here or there. So I was just like, yeah, just kind of give the people what they want. And then Alo turned around and was like, yo, you should wear 91. And I was already thinking about it. And I was like, it's weird you say that because I was thinking that. And 91, like 9 plus 1, we all know that equals 10. Not a math magician. But yeah, Rodman had wore 10 at another point in his career. 10's like the greatest soccer number of all time. So even if I can't wear 10, it's like, it embodies like Yoga Bonito, like playing for fun. And while we still joined, like 10 is what it always was. And Kobe actually wore 10 for the Olympic team, which I really enjoyed. So a lot of reasons, but nobody's ever really had 91 in the footy game, so we'll see what happens.
I like that. So the little Dennis Rodman thing. So
Yeah.
is it possible we could see some neon hair? Maybe?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we could break out the archives. I just like there's been a lot. There's been a lot of crazy hairstyles, crazy hair, crazy nails, like piercings and earrings and crazy fits. Like, yeah, I think it's gonna get pretty wicked this year. I can't even. I would love to downplay it and be like, oh, maybe we did. It's gonna get pretty wicked. Like day one till the end. But Alo asked for it. This is what he asked for. He said we need crazy.
Yeah.
Fortunately for him, I am crazy, so that works out well.
So for some of the fans, LAFC fans that haven't really, seen you play much, how could you describe your game and what you're bringing to the black and gold put on the pitch?
I think a lot of like passion and energy. I think there's different ways for passion, but I mean the fans show up to the games to be entertained. Like they pay money to be entertained. When I go somewhere and I pay money to be entertained, I expect to be entertained.
Yes.
So without like a better way of saying it, I'm here to entertain the fans. I do that by winning, of course, but let's have some fun, talk a little bit of this and that, to the opponents, a little bit of an edge. I think, I wouldn't say like, I'm very aggressive, very physical. I like hitting people. There's really nothing else about that.
Nothing wrong with that.
But that's also why I was brought here, to be very physical. So I'm glad that I can really express myself in that way. That would be nice.
I'm sure the 32-52, the supporters are definitely going to appreciate that. But for somebody that comes in from another team, from another MLS team, what's it like when you play against LAFC and you have the 32-52 here at BMO Stadium? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's incredible. My favorite games are away games. I absolutely adore, like I'm full crash the party vibes. Like I love to show up in your house, open the fridge, see what you got going on in there, eat your favorite sandwich, like do the whole thing. So like for me, I love playing in front of an actual good crowd on the road. Like please throw things at me, say whatever you want to me. It's gonna make me play better. I will have the greatest fun of my life. I enjoy it here.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of Koy Tara right there talking about just coming in here and liking to hit people. He says he likes to hit people, Dave, and hopefully the 32-52 get to see a lot of that. I know they're going to love his personality, and he definitely brings a lot to that defense of LAFC. Can't wait to see what he does with the black and gold.
Just so cool, too. I've never been that cool. You and him sitting there, if you've watched it on YouTube, they're on a couch, Mario interviewing Koy Tara, two of the coolest guys in the world, too. So I've never been that cool a day in my life. Unbelievable.
I like where he says he likes to play road games. He likes to go out on the road and spoil the party. He likes to go into your house and open the fridge and see what you got in there. Like, I love it. I love his attitude. All the right answers.
I love it. Absolutely. And good teams need that, no doubt. Good teams, I know humbleness absolutely goes a long way in this world. There's not enough of it. You know me, I'm the most humble man in the history of the world. So you need that. Don't get me wrong. But you need a little swagger, too, sometimes to get through certain things. And certainly Tafari, not shy in terms of just going out there and doing it. And that's what we love. He's a very talented player. Excited to see him. And the most recent addition, if you will, at least as we do this show, who knows, LAFC and John Thorrington never shy to add players as we go along. You never know. But Cengiz Ünder comes in on loan from Fenerbahce, of course, the giant club in Turkey. Ünder is a Turkish international, over 50 caps, a wing player, remarkable talent. Mario has been some big clubs. Of course, Fenerbahce, one of them. He is coming in on loan for about 6 months, so they get a chance to kind of see how that goes, see how he fits in.
Played under Jose Mourinho, right? So
yes, absolutely. I love this move. The more talent, the merrier, of course. He comes in as a designated player, but again, only for the loan of like 6 months, roughly, summer, the summer window. And, I listen to and follow a guy named Tom Bogert out there. If you're a soccer fan, you know Tom. He's huge, really well connected with MLS and everything. he had a good point, though. The vast majority of games this year are before that window closes, right? So, you're going to be playing a lot of games before you can even kind of add another piece late or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity to, early in the season. And of course, you throw in CONCACAF Champions Cup for us and what that means and all that. There's going to be plenty of minutes, for a guy like him to just keep himself in the shop window.
And he's a quality player. Yeah. Fans are going to fall in love with him before that 6 months is up, before that loan is up. So, yeah, that's going to be a good addition.
He's got to impress, right? Because it's a loan. Now, of course, everybody wants to go play well and want to impress your new fans and new team. But yeah, it's not like you've committed to 3-4 years. You don't know the player that well, whatever. He doesn't know admittedly, it's going to take some time, get used to his teammates and everything, but talent is talent. And this guy has it, no doubt, 27 years old. Looking forward to that move. Mario, let's break it down this way. And I'll ask you first. What are LAFC going to be good at in 2025? Let's look at it that way first. What are they going to be good at this season?
Yeah. Well, you got Denis Bouanga, right? So he's one of the most exciting players in all of MLS. So you're going to get a lot of excitement, a lot of winning, a lot of goals from Denis Bouanga leading your charge offensively. And you're going to get a lot of wins at home because LAFC has the best fan base in all of MLS. And fans know, and players know, opposing players know when they come to BMO Stadium that they're going to be going up against 12 men. They're not going to be going up against 11. They're going to be fighting 12 men because that's how strong the 32-52 are. So, and also, I think the goalkeeping, right? You got Hugo Lloris in goal, you're always going to be in the game. This guy is like another coach on the field, with that World Cup champion experience. You can't go wrong with Hugo Lloris in goal, and he doesn't miss very many games. It's like you don't even need a backup goalkeeper. He's there every single game, and he's going to be, commanding that back line, that defense all the way up until those long punts that he gives to Denis and to the offense. So that's just a few of the things there. I don't know about you, Dave. You got some more probably.
Yeah, I think along the lines of what you were saying, not only the goalkeeping, but the defense in general, with Lloris kind of organizing with the help, of course, of the captain, Aaron Long, who's certainly rock solid, and so many good center backs on this team. We love to use the wings in the offense, but they also have to defend and do a great job of that, and they certainly do. Sergi Palencia, for my money, was the best defender in MLS last season. So I think the defense is certainly going to be just rock solid, right? I mean, yes, you're going to give up goals. Of course, this league has too much offensive talent. You're not shutting people out 22 times. This is not Barcelona versus, the lowest form of the Liga, La Liga teams every week winning 5-0, where the talent is just so ridiculously. That's not how this league operates, right? There's too much offensive talent spread around. You're going to give up goals. But it's just how you play defensively, where you're just in games, making it difficult. We always talk about it. It's one of the key things I've talked about in MLS for 30 seasons as I've been watching this league since the opening kickoff. Make the opponent score beautiful, crazy, good goals. You do that, you'll be okay. Again, the talent level's there now, though, in MLS, where that does happen occasionally. You're not – in Lloris, we had a dozen shutouts in MLS. It was incredible. So that is a great run defensively. But I think they're going to be rock solid defensively. I do.
Yeah, with the former, legendary U.S. men's national team defender like Steve Cherundolo as your head coach, he's going to make sure that defense is solid, and they have been. And you're going to get a lot of those comfortable 2-0 wins, 1-0 wins where the opponent had the ball for a lot of the time, but LAFC just like, what? You don't got nothing. You have the ball, but you don't have any shots on goal. So you're going to get a lot of that. I love that.
And then, look, there's a lot of teams that piecemeal their defense together and spend all their money on offense. Okay. That is a strategy if you want to do that in a salary cap league. It's understandable to a certain, but LAFC doesn't do that. They make sure that they're just solid front to back. And that's what you have to be a great team, not a good team. You have to defend, and they do that. Goalkeeping along with that. I don't think anybody plays the position in MLS better than Hugo Lloris. Now, you could argue some statistics. Some guys make more saves because maybe Lloris doesn't face as many shots. Some guys may even end up with more shutouts or whatever. nobody plays the position better than Hugo Lloris in MLS. I mean, so it's an absolute strength. No two ways about it. I mean, Lloris even had a couple of assists. So the guy is always like on the edge, trying to get that, get the offense going as fast. Like he's just he knows what he's doing. Let's just sum it up for that. For the people who don't know LAFC that well, Hugo Lloris, we all know him, but he knows how to play football all the way around. So no worries there. What must they improve on in 2025, Mario? And I'll start for you just in case.
Okay.
I really think that we have to see, bottom line, better ball movement. And what I mean by that is this team passes well. Most of the time, they're not giving the ball away. I don't mean that. I mean, it's kind of the speed of play. And by that, I think LAFC is so talented that there's such an advantage if we can keep an opponent just off their feet a little bit, just on edge, and that's where LAFC can really do damage to a team. And that means you've got to move the ball and you got to move it at speed, quickness, all that kind of stuff. And I think they need to continue to, play at a fast pace. And I know that doesn't mean you're just breakneck. And I know some of that is the style of the team. They want to slow it down sometimes. Of course. I'm not talking 90 minutes of hell here. This is not running up and down. That's not what I'm talking about, because a good team can take the air out of the ball too and move it around very efficiently. And they do. LAFC is good at this. But I think to be really dangerous all the time against the best teams, I want to see more of that too in the final, especially in the final third. The combination play. Obviously, Giroud. Hopefully, Giroud's now more comfortable with his teammates. That keeps continuing to grow because he's such a great hold-up player. He loves the one-time passes and can get things done that way. So if guys can really start to get on the same page with him, new players included, of course, I think that could be a big, big plus for 2025. What about you? What LAFC do you see? What do they need to improve on, let's say?
So in my notes, I had clinical finishing. So that's kind of like the final third as well. Yep. So we're kind of on the same page there. But, LAFC is going to get their chances. They're going to create. They're going to get their shots. But sometimes, I know last year, the clinical finishing, just the finishing was lacking sometimes on goals that should be goals. Yep. So you got to finish those chances. And I think also when you're talking about Giroud, I think, he does make those beautiful, just almost perfect one-time passes, but we got to find a way to somehow get that back into him again when he goes back into the box. When he makes that run into the box, those crosses back into Giroud, get Giroud some goals. I know he's going to get his goals this year now that he's had a full preseason and he's worked and he's getting comfortable with the squad now. So I really look forward to Giroud, what he's going to do. I just think clinical finishing for Giroud, Bawanga, all the offense, whoever's taking shots, that's got to happen for LAFC. If that happens with that defense that the LAFC has, look out for LAFC.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And again, people will be listening and saying, "Oh, you guys don't like the offense." No, this team was like fifth in goals, and I mean they're great.
Yeah, I'm just nitpicking here. Nitpicking here.
Exactly. Because the team, look, here's the bottom line. I said it last season. This is no disrespect to the team that we won't name here that won MLS Cup. At least we won't say their name right now. LAFC was the only team that could beat them.
Yeah.
Now they didn't because we couldn't get past Seattle, and the Sounders deserved to win that game. We talked about it last season on this very show. That game, Seattle deserved to win. We're taking nothing away from them. They're a great team too. But they could not beat the Galaxy. There, I went and mentioned that name. The only team that could beat the Galaxy, including the Eastern Conference, by the way, by the time the season was over, was LAFC. The two best teams in MLS, not Inter Miami, not, Columbus. By the end of the year, after everything was said and done, two best teams were living in LA. It was just a matter of who was going to get out of the West.
Southern California. They're in Southern California, Dave. Not both in LA, but
fair enough.
Yeah.
They have LA in their name, no doubt. But you're right. We are LA.
Straight.
So yes, fair enough. That's very true. So as painful as it is that they were the ones who got it done, we were the only team that could beat them. And it's the same thing this time, and I don't mean with the Galaxy. I mean, LAFC is right there to win any and every trophy that they're involved in. Now, again, you might listen to us and be like, oh, of course you're the radio. No, I mean, it's just open your eyes. I mean,
no, I mean, they won U.S. Open Cup, and then they came first place in the Western Conference at the end of the season. So, yeah, we're just nitpicking here, though, with as far as the offense and
every
finishing
team has
and all
things
that.
they got to, improve
Yeah.
on. It's just a matter of how much you need to improve, right? Some teams, yikes, they got a lot of work to do.
A little more than others, yeah.
These are tweaks. So,
yeah.
Speaking of the team that, look, maybe does some tweaks and can be really dangerous, is unfortunately the team we got to play here on Saturday, the opener coming up, season 8 of LAFC. You'll hear us broadcasting this match against Minnesota United, who comes into town, Mario. The Loons finished 6th in the West last season. Then they got run over by the guy. I just knew that was a bad matchup for Minnesota. They had no chance against the way LAFC were playing, the style.
Oh, yeah.
But this is not a bad team. This is a good team. Did a lot of their work in the winter or summer window last season, bringing in a guy like Kelvin Yeboah, who's a dangerous player. They've got some very good talent on this team. Robin Lod can play. They brought in Owen Jean from the Ligue 2 over in France. Midfielder Young Ho Yan and defender Nicholas Romero. So they've been busy. Eric Ramsey kind of just getting his feet wet in MLS last season. Dangerous team though, Mario. What do you?
Ramsey did well.
Match, yeah.
Ramsey did well when he stepped in last season. Got that team playing well, but they did lose their DP Timo Pukki, right? So he caused the entire
bought him out in terms of freeing themselves up from the contract.
So he was causing a ruckus for the entire league last year. So that's a huge loss for them. But I am looking forward to Nicolas Romero, the new Argentine defender. You just mentioned him.
Yeah, he can play.
I'm interested to see what he can do for this club. He's coming from Atlético Tucumán in Argentina. So that's going to be a nice addition for them. But he's going to have a tough task this weekend against LAFC's offense with Giroud, Bawanga, everybody over there at LAFC. So we'll see what happens with that one.
They've been annoying, especially at BMO, ironically, against LAFC. But that's not a surprise. This is a team that had the same road record in MLS play that LAFC did, which was very good for a road record, 8-6-3. That's a lot of road points, 27 road
wins,
points. Yeah. Any team takes that just about to start a season. If you could have your way, you'd take 8 wins on the road with 3 draws from the 17 matches in MLS play. So they had the exact same road record as LAFC. Of course, LAFC a far better home team than Minnesota United, but that's irrelevant in this match. I think it's a tough test. I really do.
But that being said, though, the Loons haven't seen a victory at BMO Stadium since 2019, Dave. So
fair enough.
Let's hope
that is true.
LAFC
they're
keeps
hard
that
to
going.
Play, but they don't. It's not like we've had issues necessarily getting results, but they are a difficult matchup. And I like this game. I like this out of the right out of the chute because we're involved in Champions Cup. That's not easy.
Yeah.
But it's a good team where you have to refocus, right, for this match. Now, Steve does a great job with his staff. We've seen it. We saw it last year, losing in the Leagues Cup final, and days later, with a huge win in the Open Cup. So they can do it, Mario.
Yeah. And you know what I'm looking forward to this weekend, Dave, is the Rapids. They have a very tough match against St. Louis. I mean, we're jumping over to other games here, but we're talking about the rest of the league. That's what we do here at LAFC Plus. We talk about the upcoming matches as well from around the league, not just LAFC. They have a really tough match on the road in St. Louis. We got to keep an eye on that one because that's our opponent, right, for Tuesday night, right, for the second leg.
Absolutely.
So LAFC stays at home. LAFC stays at home. They don't have to travel for this weekend or Tuesday. So there are going to be a lot of travel there for Colorado.
Yeah, relatively good early schedule because LAFC actually home for the first 2 MLS games. Not to get too far ahead, of course. We stay home for 3 straight games, if you will. So, Mario, what's a game you want to watch this opening weekend?
Oh, I definitely want to see Galaxy at San Diego FC. San Diego FC, they have to make a statement, Dave, in that first game to let the league know that they are for real. It's also important to get these rivalries, these California rivalries, off to a good start. And now is like the perfect time, I think, for San Diego to do just that, to take advantage of the fact that Ricky Puig is not there for the Carson boys right now. He's not there. He's hurt. He's coming off that surgery. So to set that rivalry off the right way, just like just like LAFC did, right? With the Galaxy. When LAFC came into their first season, they set that rivalry off with the Galaxy, that first game, and it hasn't let down since. So there's a lot of potential there to grow San Diego's fan base and to grow the league and to really make their mark opening week with a depleted a Galaxy team right now who's injured and lost. Even Joveljic is gone. He went to Kansas City. So I think now is a good chance to have a great game against the defending champs.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seemed like we were basically the first match for every expansion team since we joined the league. That seems how it was going.
Yeah.
Now it's, of course, San Diego. I was shocked they didn't give us the first game against the San Diego FC, but certainly a very interesting matchup, no doubt. I love expansion clubs in the sense of following how they do, seeing how the build is. I'm big into that, right? I don't want San Diego. I don't care about San Diego FC. I sports hate them already, frankly, because it's going to be a good rivalry. It's just fascinating to watch, like how you build out a team, how they do early in their history, if you will. There can be some bumps along the way. We've seen.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, St. Louis wins the West their first year.
Yeah.
Then they don't make the playoffs, right? Austin had a great first season. Then they just absolutely slid back down, and they're still trying to kind of claw their way back up. So it doesn't always guarantee that if you get off to a great start, or the opposite, that that's the way it's going to go necessarily. But it's going to be interesting. Chucky, anytime he's playing, I'm watching. So, yeah, I agree with you there. My game to watch is Inter Miami NYCFC. Now everybody's going, oh, well, no kidding. It's Messi. Yeah, that's a good first start. Yeah, he doesn't have unlimited amount of games left in his career, everybody, right? I keep saying that. I'm going to watch every time I can. This is Lionel Messi. But I love this matchup, too, because LAFC plays NYCFC in week 2, second weekend in MLS play. So I want to see how they look, right?
That's true.
Some rumors flying around about Santi Rodriguez, like possibly going. Who are the new players for NYC? I want to see how they handle Inter Miami on the road in their first match of this season. And then because we play them the next week, they'll be on the road at BMO. So that's one of the reasons I want. Yeah, of course, I always want to watch Messi. But that's not even the biggest reason in this case. I want to see how LAFC's opponent's going to do, Mario.
Now, NYCFC, they haven't really done too much this offseason. It's been rather quiet for NYCFC. So I expect Messi to do his thing in that game. But Inter Miami have reloaded around Messi, Suarez, Busquets, and Jordi Alba, of course. And so many are picking them to win the Supporters' Shield again. But I don't know, Dave, what do you think about their new manager, Javier Mascherano? Because being the coach of Inter Miami is not an easy job because they play so many games. You got to manage Messi. And how do you manage the team when Messi's not around? And how do you get wins when Messi's not around? Because Tata Martino did a great job. And Tata Martino, of course, got them to the Supporters' Shield. And he was getting wins when Messi was gone. So that's something to look forward to. Mascherano, his job there in Miami, his first year there.
I think it helps that there isn't like Copa America this summer, or some kind of international, something that would pull Messi's attention and actually pull him from the team. He missed a lot of time with Copa America. Then he got hurt at the end of Copa America, right? He missed a lot of time coming back even for Inter Miami. And as you say, I think it'll help Mascherano because he's going to have Messi in all likelihood just physically more than Tata did, and having to kind of balance that. I was listening actually to a podcast that it escaped me of who the Inter Miami podcast. I apologize, but and the host who hosts this Inter Miami podcast was on another podcast talking about Inter Miami, and he had a great point. Like Tata Martino did an amazing job of kind of playing one way with Messi. Then all of a sudden he leaves, gets injured, and they had to kind of go more defensive because they're not afraid to. When you have Messi, you're not afraid to win 5-4 or 4-3 or 4-2. Like that's just not a bad way to play, frankly, because he can do that. And Suarez and all that. But they started playing a little more defensive. Then he couldn't quite, when Messi came back, they couldn't figure out exactly, in this opinion of the podcaster, like how to get that back to where they needed to be in a sense. And that's kind of where they faltered in the playoffs. Of course, we saw that massive upset, Atlanta United, with Brad Guzan just standing on his head in goal. So I think that's interesting. I think Mascherano, he has to kind of figure out amongst his friends there, what is the best way to approach this whole 34 plus, regular season? Then they have the Club World Cup, of course, thrown in the middle. And
that's what I'm saying. They have a busy schedule. You got to manage these minutes for all these guys and rotating players and all. It's not an easy job when they have all those games, all these tournaments, and all those stars. It's very difficult.
Absolutely. Speaking of difficult, another game I want to see that's going to be difficult for Chicago is Columbus hosting Chicago now. The Crew, of course, big news. Cucho sold off to Real Betis, big number there.
Yeah.
We wish him nothing but the best, but we're glad to see him go. If you're not a Columbus Crew fan, that's for sure. I mean, geesh, don't let the MLS door hit you on the way out, Cucho. Get out of here already. You're too good.
Exactly.
So lovely to see him go. I mean, it's good, good bit of business too for Columbus. And Cucho wants to be on that Colombian national team for the World Cup. We get it. Big move there. But Mario, I'm intrigued by Chicago with Greg Berhalter now because if you're an Eastern Conference team, for most of your existence, whoever you are, not all of them, going back a long way, of course, with Bob Bradley and stuff, they were great, but Chicago's been pretty dreadful. Let's face it. I mean, that's just
Greg Berhalter has an excellent football. He's an excellent football coach, but he has a lot of work to do there with Chicago. That fire team,
he's a winner. Yeah,
tough task there. And season opener against Wilfred Nancy, of course, that's one of the best coaches in all of MLS. And Columbus always plays well. They're always a team that plays well under Wilfred Nancy. So that's going to be tough for Berhalter in the season opener.
Absolutely. Those are the games we want to see, though, certainly in these. I love opening weekends because I want to watch everybody because we don't know what these teams are yet. I get it. We're only highlighting a few. And we'll do that throughout the season. One thing I want to end on, Mario.
One thing before we move on here, the Crew isn't as scary as they were in the past couple of years. I think we can all say that because
we'll see.
Cucho and Christian were responsible for like 39% of their goals last season. And so I think focusing back into CONCACAF Champions Cup, if LAFC can get past Colorado, that is who's waiting for LAFC, right? Columbus, and I think that's a winnable game for LAFC. So that's a massive. If LAFC get past Columbus, then you got probably Inter Miami there. 2 games with Inter Miami would be massive for LAFC, a home and away. That would be great to have Messi come back to BMO Stadium. I know that's looking way, way down the line, but that's what we do. We have these microphones. That's what we do.
Look, I'll say it this way. In big moments, Cucho was amazing. And he's a great player.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Columbus still has a Golden Boot winner on that team who's probably going to lead the way, and I don't think they're going to falter as much as people think. You said it. Nancy is that good, no question. He's a great manager. They also have Diego Rossi. And we know Diego from when he was 18. He's not 18 anymore either. He was great then. He's a complete player, in my opinion. He's one of the best in MLS. Now, look, the stats aren't always because he's not he's not a number 9. So he's not going to get 25 goals necessarily. This guy won the Golden Boot in MLS. He's certainly capable. So I don't think Columbus, I want to see how they do without Cucho. Of course, that's a big loss.
Big loss,
Cucho was the best player in MLS, right? I mean, I get it. But Diego Rossi is no slouch. So I think that team, and plus, let's face it, they got money now from the sale of Cucho. They can still go shopping potentially. Columbus has never been shy about that either, so we'll see how it goes. But
Columbus also lost Yaya Boa, who's now with who? The Black and Gold.
Yeah, they've had more losses and tough losses than they've had additions so far this offseason, no doubt. So it is going to be an interesting fix, if you will, that way. One final thing I wanted to touch on, get your opinion on, Mario, before we say goodbye to this first episode here of 2025 of LAFC Plus. The new rule of players being able to go from MLS team to MLS team for straight up cash. Rather than just the allocation money type stuff, because nobody has $12 million in GAM. That it was not possible, right? In general allocation money. However, Evander stays in MLS because Cincinnati can take money that they've had from keeping Lucho Acosta in MLS, but sending him to FC Dallas for a nice chunk of change. They can then turn around and spend $12 million to keep Evander, a multi-talented player in MLS, leaving the Western Conference and Portland Timbers over to Cincinnati. And then Portland takes some of that money and buys a player that they like, his contract over in France. And I love this, Mario.
I love this. I love this,
Dave.
Keeps
these great players in the league.
Yes. And some of these teams, these clubs, it's going to separate the clubs from the clubs that are good and from the clubs that really want to win. If you really want to win, you're going to go out and spend that cash, and you're going to get those big players. So that's the thing here. If teams think they have a chance, if they have a good enough roster, all they need is a player. They can go get that cash and spend that cash and get that player that they really need.
Mario, let's end it up this way. I think we both agree LAFC, like if you put teams in like kind of tiers, right? You can never predict, they're going to come in third. I mean, it's kind of, it's 34 games. Who knows? Like, this team is, Portland's going to come in fifth. Well, that's ridiculous. I don't want to do that. But who are the teams that can win MLS Cup right now in your mind? And again, long way to go. There's probably only a couple, realistically. Who do you like out there besides LAFC? I think we both agree LAFC can win everything. They can. No
definitely LAFC is in there. That's an easy answer. LAFC each and every year put out quality product, a team that's ready to win, not just MLS Cup, but multiple trophies, right? So we throw LAFC in there. We know Inter Miami is definitely going to be a team for sure. And the rest of the league, there's some good teams, a lot of teams that made a lot of moves. I know St. Louis made a lot of moves. Austin's made a lot of moves. San Jose's made a lot of moves, but we haven't seen them yet. But some of these teams that I'm looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to San Jose. I'm not saying that they're going to, win the MLS Cup final, but I'm saying that that's a team that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to St. Louis as well. They picked up a lot of players, and they're relatively young. They know how to win. They know how to win the season, but can they do it in the playoffs? That's what they need to do. So there's a lot of teams out there, Dave. I don't know. I just can't call it right now, but I do know Inter Miami on the East, LAFC on the West.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. I mean, I think FC Cincinnati's dangerous. If Denke, the new signing, which at the time was a club or a league record, if he can pair up with Evander, if they can get that chemistry going early, I think FC Cincinnati's got defense. They got
Evander already had in his debut with Cincinnati, he had a great goal in Montagua. That was an amazing jumping scissor kick goal. It was amazing.
And good to get Denke off the board too. He gets a goal in that first match. You always want to get your massive number 9 signing goals as fast as you can. There's no doubt about that. So we'll see them as well. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a great year on LAFC Plus. You can join us each and every Thursday, as Mario said earlier, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And, of course, you can listen to the podcast afterwards if you can't catch it live or whatever on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Mario, so much fun, buddy. I can't wait for this opener on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. If you're a fan of MLS, not even just the black and gold, tune in, 1 o'clock Pacific, LAFC and Minnesota on Saturday from BMO Stadium. Always a pleasure, amazing, Mario. Dave. Take us out of here, brother. It's great to see you. Good to be back, man.
Yeah, join us at the stadium, if not on the radio. It's going to be a beautiful Saturday. It's a day game. 1:30 kickoff roughly. The sun's going to be out. It's going to be almost 80 degrees in sunny California, so make sure you join us. This has been LAFC Plus episode number 43. Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Reeves. I hope you guys are ready for a jam-packed 2025 for the black and gold, because I know we are. We'll catch you on the next episode of LAFC Plus.